Welcome, English 231. Today we'll be examining a model of Christian charity, a sermon prepared by John Winthrop to many of his colleagues upon arriving in pre-colonial New England. Today we'll be exploring the many aspects of Puritanism in the Bay Colony itself and its impact on the developed world and the developing world in the past. First, we'll begin exploring the pre-colonial New England and their vision of the Massachusetts Bay Colony upon advancing in the New World. Due to severe religious persecution by the Church of England, the Puritans of John Winthrop's day decided to leave England after being severely persecuted due to religious matters. According to the article, Religious Conscience in Colonial New England, the Puritans departed from England 10 years prior to the Puritans departed from England 10 years prior to the Pilgrims to establish a city of God in the wilderness. Also combined with this fact, the Winthrop and many of his colleagues established this colony known as the Massachusetts Bay Colony, which was a colony that was originally designed as a trading company, but attempted to establish a puritanical principled colony in the New World. The Puritan ideals reflected in John Winthrop's mission and his sermon in the colony's mission abroad was reflected primarily from two laws, the law of mercy and the law of love. The law of mercy, which went of lending to one another, of giving to one another, and providing needs to the colonists, was reflected in the idea of giving without receiving, the idea of giving to all individuals, whether needy, poor, stricken, or well off. However, this would be a very controversial subject, as in the fact of the colonists and their treatment of the American Indian peoples. Due to the cultural traditions that differed from the puritanical principles acquired by Winthrop and many of his colleagues, the American Indians were forced to leave their culture and often were killed due to their conflicting beliefs and discrepancies with the Puritan religion itself. The Puritans thought of giving to one another, however, as a service to God, and without doing so, they would reap the fires of eternal punishment in hell itself. Moving on, we look at the law of love. The law of love not only applied to all foreigners, but also applied to those who were enemies, also applied to those who were, and specifically to those who were Christians, Christian Puritans. The Puritan idea of love, the law of love, was exemplified in a love and service to God, which was the abounding mission of the colonists in their governmental structure. Primarily focused on the law of love, the Puritans attempted to purify the colony of New England and the abroadness of America, and would further institute a religious dogma associated with the puritanical conversion of many of the colonists of the New World, which has significant impact on our developed world today. The Puritans thought that love was actually the bond of perfection. It would include the service to God, the service to individuals, and the conversion of the individuals of the colony. And as stated before, this caused many controversies due to the cultural extraction of many of the American Indians of the day and other important peoples such as African Americans who were enslaved due to the colonists' impact on America. The law of love had many significant impacts, both positive and negative, as you can see, which thereby influenced the Christian influence in the West as well as America today, which of today Americans have more Christians than any other religion in the world. However, the goals of the Puritan advancement and the colony of the Massachusetts Bay Colony were as follows. According to Winthrop, the main goal of the Massachusetts Bay Colony was to establish a colony both civil and ecclesiastical based on Puritan principles. The Puritan principles of this colony were to unite and form all members of society under a puritanical banner, despite the many cultural traditions that were present in American society at the time. However, the main goals of Puritanism were not outlined in wealth, prosperity, and fame, as many other capitalistic nations such as America are enduring right now, but their goal was to oversee the affairs of public society and meet individuals' needs throughout time, primarily religious beliefs and poverty-stricken issues. Further along, we examined that the goal of the Massachusetts Bay Colony was to provide individuals in the needs of Puritanism and the religion of Christianity itself. The main goal of the colonists was to establish an increase in the amount of followers of Christ, followers of Puritanism, and expound the influence on Christianity in the modern developed world today. According to an article, Why They Mattered, The Return of Politics to Puritan New England, it says, by instituting scriptural forms of worship, these purified churches particularly the Puritans, might have had a beneficial influence on the states as well and bring about the rule of the godly. As you can see, the role of Puritans in their advancement of the modern day world was to advance the spirit of Christianity, not to expound on the interests of the other societies living in America, such as the American Indians, the Africans who were exported as slaves, but to influence the world into Christendom, as known as the Puritan state of New England. Also, combined with this fact, we conclude that the Puritans' goal in John Winthrop and many of his colleagues were to expound a sense of democracy under Christian principles and to influence the Western developed world under the principles of Puritanism and Christianity. Effectively, they have done so today. As we can see, many of the societies today are a part of a Christian nation. America is primarily occupied by Christians, despite the fact of the many multicultural emphasis placed on our world and society today. According to an article, The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Democracy, it says, moreover, that he observes that religious toleration was least effectively strong in the societies of regions dominant by Puritanism and Calvinism, particularly in England. As you can see, class, we conclude that the influence of Puritanism in the Massachusetts Bay Colony on our developed world has significant impacts, both positive and negative. Despite the previous developing world being occupied by dominant European explorers who wanted to institute a sense of theocratical principles of Christianity, we now can conclude that due to our evolving society and our multicultural emphasis, ethnocentrism has decreased in our modern society, and we are adopting not only a separation of church and state, which the puritanical principles of John Winthrop did not oblige to, but now we can see that our world as we know it is becoming a more diverse and accepting place for all cultures and environments to undergo in. Thank you.